You know what? We are so screwed.
Thought you weren't talking to me.
You two, come with me. Report to Waste Management.
Harsh. I feel like waste management isn't the right word for me. You can just call me RJVR Films. Hello everybody, and welcome to today's video. Now, I don't know if you've noticed this about me, but I'm a pretty big Transformers fan. I mean, it's not like I've got 2 entire shelves filled with Transformers behind my desk or anything. Yep, totally nothing to imply that. And because you were all so clueless about my love for this franchise, I thought it'd be a good idea to quickly talk about the new movie coming out this year. Now, for those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, way back in 2015, God, I'm old, talks began regarding a potential animated prequel film set before the Michael Bay Transformers movies. Then, around this time in 2020, director Josh Cooley was brought on board to revise the script for the film. Over the next few years, we got more and more information, eventually learning the cast for the film. Again, around this time last year. Wait, are we sure Jesus died for our sins and not Optimus Prime? Anyway, flash forward to yesterday, and we get our first trailer for this film. But it's not just any trailer reveal. It's a trailer reveal in space. But RJ, I hear you ask, who gives a damn about Transformers? I do. I give all of the dams, and then some. I've devoted too much of my brain power to random Transformers facts that it would be dishonorable for me not to ramble about Transformers.
Dishonor! Dishonor on your whole family! Make a note of this. Dishonor on you! Dishonor on your cow!
Anyway, what do I actually have to say about this trailer? Well, as it turns out, a lot. Firstly, I want to establish something. No one has made it clear whether or not this movie is part of Michael Bay's Transformers universe, and that bothers me so much. So basically, we have the first 5 Transformers films, and they're considered to be part of the Bayverse. Then, you have Bumblebee, which was kind of a prequel, but didn't really fit in. Then, we got the most recent film, Rise of the Beasts, which was a sequel to Bumblebee, but not a sequel to the rest of the Bayverse. And now, we have this film, which I think is meant to be standalone. Due to some people I really shouldn't mention, Lorenzo de Boaventura, we really have no way of being able to clarify whether or not this is a prequel. So with that being said, I feel like we need to view this film as its own thing, and enjoy it for what it is. But what is this film about? Well, that's quite simple. This film is about the pair of Transformers who would one day become Optimus Prime and Megatron, the beginning of their journey to fight for freedom. This storyline takes a lot of inspiration from stuff such as the War for Cybertron games and the original IDW universe. Sidebar, my dad actually wrote a comic set in that universe, and it's easily one of the best comics ever. Don't judge me. What's so interesting about this story is that it turns Megatron and Optimus, or as they are in this film, D16 and Orion, from the typical villain and hero pairing to something more tragic. Some people, such as Dan Exclaims, have pointed out that Megatron and Optimus are similar to Magneto and Charles Xavier, and I think that comparison's pretty spot on. In other media, Optimus and Megatron both want the same thing, freedom from a corrupt society. In some universes, it's a society that forces people into certain castes based on their alternate mode, and in others, it's just a corrupt senate. But the way they go about finding that freedom and fighting for it is different, and that's what separates the pair. However, this film looks like it might be doing something a bit different. In the trailer, we can see this guy with tentacles. The presence of this guy, along with the fact that Transformers apparently can't all transform, and aren't allowed on the surface, makes me think that the evil oppressive force that Orion and D16 are going to fight is none other than, drumroll please, Quintessons. There's a lot to say about these guys, so I'll give you the cliff notes. The Quintessons, or Quintessons if you're a weirdo, are a race of aliens who, in the original cartoon, were responsible for creating the Transformers as a sort of slave race. They were a major recurring antagonistic group in the 3rd season of the original cartoon, and are actually one of my favourite parts of Transformers lore. However, around the same time, the original Marvel Comics proposed an alternate origin for the race that involved gods and grand missions. As a result, when that one became more popular, the Quintessons drifted to the background. They appear every so often, and attempts have been made to combine them with the godly origin. For example, in the War for Cybertron universe, the Transformers God spat out 13 kids, and one of these kids, named Quintus, was a scientist who made a race of techno-organic beings called the Quintessons. However, when he and the other Transformers died, the Quintessons took over Cybertron and gaslit the population into thinking them to be their creators. During this time, the Quintessons withheld knowledge about transformation from the Transformers and were generally oppressive. I think this is likely what the Transformers 1 is going to deal with, an origin where the Quintessons didn't make the Transformers but rule over them. Now, while it'd be nice to have the original origin, I think this movie's going a different route purely because of one detail. This guy. This guy is meant to be Alpha Trion, one of the oldest Transformers and, in some universes, one of the first 13. Now, in the original cartoon, Alpha Trion was a freedom fighter known as A3, and was one of the Transformers who fought against the Quintessons. However, given that he's much older in the trailer, and that he bestows transformation upon our heroes, rather than transformation being a disguise method developed after the Quintessons left, I believe that in this film, Alpha Trion will be one of the last Cybertronians to remember before the Quintessons came and took away the Transformers' freedom. And if that didn't make any sense to you, just think. Tentacles equals evil government. Purple/pink boy, good old grandpappy. Honestly, if I'm right, which I'm pretty sure I am, I'm so excited, and this could be really incredible. Now, I know some people have complained that the film looks too much like a comedy or a kid's film, and to that I say...
I'll take you all on!
Sorry, I meant to say, why does it matter? The Michael Bay films were mainly about two things. His favourite things. Babes and booms. With Bumblebee, we got a really sweet story about a girl learning to grow close to someone after the loss of her father. And with Rise of Beast, we got somewhere in the middle of that spectrum between action movie and heartfelt story. This film looks like it's going to find a similar spot to fill, and I'm really all for that. If this film can A. tell a coherent story, B. have that story be semi-serious with actual character arcs, and C. tell it in a way that's accessible to the masses, then this movie's already going to be 10 times better than the Bayverse, which isn't really hard.
I'm Wang. Deep Wang. Deep Wang. You're not getting it. Deep throat. Watergate. Talking code to you! Damn it!
Yes, that was a real line, said in a real movie, by real people. The Bayverse. Anyway, the cast and crew for this film have me even more excited than before. Firstly, there's the director, Josh Cooley, who wrote Inside Out and directed Toy Story 4, along with coming up with the story for it. Now, regardless how you feel about Toy Story 4, you have to admit that Inside Out is one of the best Pixar films ever made, and if we have the guy responsible for that working on this movie, I have high hopes. Then we have the cast for this film. Chris Hemsworth as Orion, Brian Tyree Henry as D16, Keegan-Michael Key as Bumblebee, and Scarlett Johansson as Alita 1, along with Lawrence Fishburne, John Hamm, and Steve Buscemi in other roles. Now, I was concerned about Chris Hemsworth to begin with, but after watching the trailer, my concerns are gone. I mean, you can barely tell it's him. And from what we've seen in the trailer, everyone is just perfect in their role. Keegan's B is a childish bot, while Scarlett appears to nail the gentle but ferocious warrior that is Alita 1. Then we have Brian Tyree Henry. While some have complained that the voice isn't evil enough, I like to think that Megatron only got his signature level of vocal fry after yelling PRIME over and over again for millions of years, like it was in a Logan Paul commercial.
We have created our own drink company.
Also, when footage was shown at CinemaCon a few weeks back, there were multiple people praising Brian Tyree's performance as D16, which is more than enough for me. So yeah, I'm really excited to see this film in September. It might be one of the first Transformers films in a long time that I can drag my family to the cinemas to watch, which is always a good thing. Stay tuned for more film content, and probably some more Transformers stuff as well. As always, make sure to smash that like button and slap that subscribe button, and I'll see you next video.